Okay, so this was the craziest announcement ever. First off, we're at 5.8. We're actually getting a preview of 5.8. We're at 5.7 right now, right? And somehow they're announcing Unreal 6. We're not even done with 5, and they're already announcing the 6th Unreal Engine. I don't know what's going on. And they announced it with Rocket League? That's the another thing. Like, we're going to react to Rocket League X Unreal Engine 6 official reveal announcement trailer. Crazy.
To all of our friends here in Paris.
Rocket League out of office. Not saying it's not goated. Like, it clearly made a lot of people's childhood. But it wasn't. I mean, it was part of my childhood, like when I was in my teenage years. But like, I wasn't really into playing it. My little brother, yes, he loves playing Rocket League. Even one my little cousin. But I don't think it was the type of game for me. And I love football, but I don't. Wasn't for me.
And those watching all.
But I do like watching RDC play Rocket League. It's always fun to see them trash talking. Like, I like watching the gameplay. The playing is really not. It's like a different experience. I'm not a big fan.
All around the world, this is the future, and this is.
Damn! Nah. Damn! Rocket League got motion! What the? I did not know Rocket League had motion like that. Captured in real time, okay. Okay, the car looks cleaner. Oh. Wait, hold on. Wait, these cars actually look good. Ooh, that purple. Okay. Unreal 6. Crazy announcement. Crazy teaser. With Rocket League too. Damn, everybody hype. Okay, this is
okay, fam, I wanted to stream today, but we have rolling internet dropouts right now, so I'm going to just record this as normal, and then I'm going to upload magic. Spread his magic all over it, as you do. So what's the first next chapter? New engine, new tech, new era of Rocket League. And as you can see, they just do a couple little sizzle reels, and then title screen of Rocket League. And as you can see, they just do a couple little sizzle.
I'm guessing this is Fortnite, Disney, or this. I'm not sure. And Lego
reels, and then title screen. But then this is the big moment right here.
Yeah. This is crazy.
No doubt about that. It's massive. And they have a close collaboration, of course, close connection with Epic. And this looks to be like the first big showcase of Unreal Engine 6. Now, you'll notice a couple little teasers, and this is what I wanted to mention. Like this right here. If you look here, this looks like the game, whatever. But then you see this up here. verse://rocketleague.com. Because a lot of people are wondering what Unreal Engine 6 even is. Insert joke about they can't even get Unreal Engine 5 working right. You know, there's the jokes right themselves. But what they're trying to do with Unreal Engine 6 is much weirder and also, to me, a little more dystopian than you may currently think. Because if you are thinking about this in terms of a game engine, you're thinking about it wrong. And I know that sounds insane because it's a game engine, but what they're trying to do with Unreal Engine more broadly and Unreal Engine 6 specifically is very different from what anybody else has done with any sort of game building tech or anything. It's much less, or it's supposed to be much less of a game engine and much more of a platform, multiverse, Fortnite ecosystem, whatever you want to call it. That's what they're trying.
Okay. This is similar to Unreal Fortnite type of thing. Like you make your own games, or kind of like Roblox, I'm guessing. Which could be cool.
Now, why? Like, how do we know any of this? Well, it's because there's actually been a number of interviews, a couple of little snippets here and there where we can actually get a better idea of what they are trying to do. Tim Sweeney, the CEO and head of Epic Games, he actually went on the Lex Fridman podcast last year. Or technically it was April of 2025. And in this interview, he talked a bunch about all sorts of stuff, Unreal Engine 5 and what they're doing there to fix performance issues. Yeah, Lumen, movies, simulating reality, Fortnite in general, scaling to make what you build for one platform work on every platform. But he also talked about the goals of Unreal Engine 6. And I want to show you a little snippet of it because you'll notice that it's much less about cranking graphical fidelity or building bigger worlds or optimizing, God forbid, they talk about optimization. It's not about that. What you will hear him talk about almost entirely is creating an engine or a platform that is ubiquitous, that spreads over everything. Because I think Tim Sweeney's ultimate vision is that if you build The Witcher 4 or Witcher 5 in Unreal Engine 6, that can be played through Fortnite as a launcher. It can be played through Steam as well as a standalone thing. But all of the tools used to build Witcher 4 or Witcher 5 should be able to be brought over and used to build experiences, quote unquote, within Fortnite as well. And if that sounds crazy, bear with me. I'll let him explain it. I'm just going to tell you to brace. Tim is not, as is true for a lot of hardware guys. I love hardware guys. I love engineers. I love programmers. They tend to be a little bit of a stage presence vacuum. So like a black hole. So you'll hear him talking. It might be kind of tough because he's very monotone. Bear with me. I'll try to break it up and make it a little more digestible. But just bear with me.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Both of these guys kind of talk in a monotone fashion. So just bear with me. We'll break it down.
Things with Verse, and I guess what you're outlining is if, and hopefully it is successful, this would be a big part of Unreal Engine 6. So what's the timeline? Where do we stand today?
Bear in mind, this was April of 2025. So they're talking about timelines for Unreal Engine 3.5 hours into. Previously, they've been talking about trying to make creating games more accessible for people so you don't have to have a super high level of understanding of programming. You can just kind of eventually build things. In Unreal Engine, it's called Blueprints is how they do stuff where you can
That's pretty cool.
It's almost like a node-based programming system as opposed to just writing out raw code. So they've been talking about all that stuff, and now he's going to discuss Unreal Engine 6 specifically.
Well, there's a lot.
It's one of the things I love about Unreal. It's like very geared towards the artist. Not saying like there's not functions for programmers. It's just like with the example of Blueprints, like it's definitely way easier to learn than like pure code.
Going on in parallel. The key thing with Verse is that we have been specifying what we think is the ultimate version of the language with all of the features we want, whereas we've been shipping more modest versions of the language over time, and we've released dozens of updates to it over the past year and a half.
To be clear, Verse is their like metaverse platform. Okay, that's why it said Verse : Rocket League. That's kind of where they see this going, is one gigantic platform, and he'll talk more about that in a second.
And the idea is that the shipping version gains more and more features over time, but each maintaining backwards compatibility with old versions, and each continuing to improve and approach the ultimate version of it as we go. For now, we want this experiment entirely within the world of Unreal Editor for Fortnite. For now, we want to test this and iterate with Fortnite creators in just the metaverse usage case before we make it available to all of our partners using Unreal Engine for all of their projects. And the idea is to iteratively improve it and build it out. Because right now, UEFN has relatively few features for programming. It needs a lot more, and everything we add makes the world a much better place for Fortnite creators. And we're adding major new APIs every few months throughout the course of this year.
Honestly.
And I will say this, because people, like if you're watching this, chances are you're not, no shade if you are, but chances are you're not super into Fortnite. Okay. My channels and content don't tend to focus a lot on it, but I do got
no,
like, I gotta
I've
give
played
them
it, but
their flowers here with a couple of things where, like, just the other day, well, a few weeks ago, we did a collaboration with Epic Games on our TikTok page where we actually covered a few Star Wars games that were added to Fortnite. One that stood out to me was called Droid Tycoon. Okay. This is a game within Fortnite. Okay. Where straight up, it is an entire like tycoon game built in Fortnite. You can use whatever skin you want to use. But it's free. You can just load in, you put in the island code or whatever it's called to get access to the game, and then you just play it. And bro, it's got like dozens of hours of content, and it's a full-on tycoon game where you can collect droids, level them up, use them to build and collect resources for other droids. Like, it is something you could easily charge $20 for on Steam, and I think it would sell very, very well. And it's just a free update. Other things, for example, Galactic Siege. This is like their version of Battlefront, basically, that they just casually added to the game. Again, for free. This is kind of the ultimate vision of what they have, is that they want people to be able to go through Fortnite, and either for free or paying, because I'm sure they'll eventually expand it where you can like pay, maybe it's $50 to get Witcher 4 or 5 through Fortnite. Like, as a platform, you have to pay for it, but it's discounted because they keep more of the money or something like that. And like, this is ultimately where they see it. They want Fortnite to be basically the giga platform of interactivity. And the reason they like that too,
they want
this is, you just
Fortnite to be Roblox.
Think about it from the perspective of like a 15-year-old kid or a 12-year-old kid today. This is the type of thing they've grown up on. So they've grown up on, you boot into Fortnite and all of your games are there. All of the modes are there. All of your friends are there. You bought a skin over Christmas with some V-Bucks you got from grandma. Now you can bring that skin into any of these game modes that you're playing. You can use it. It supports it. Like, that's what the next generation of gamers has been raised on. And that's what they've come to expect. And so to a certain extent, I understand the vision of what Tim is putting forward here. Like, this idea that you will have access to countless games, different types of games, not just little bitty game modes within Fortnite, but like actual full games within the ecosystem. Okay. It's very different for us and like the older, as I said, I'm 28 years old. I'm like the older gamers. It's very different for us, even at 28 years old, for us to think about it in this context, because we were before the era of Fortnite and Roblox. But this is like what millions upon millions upon millions of gamers have been raised on. And the data supports this too. This isn't just vibes. Something crazy. I think among Gen Z, 62% of those polled in a recent survey like a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a month or two ago, said that they do not buy games at full price, full stop. And further, like additional 20% said they just don't buy new games. Maybe they buy one every year, maybe. Because most of their time is spent playing free-to-play games like Warzone or an Evolution platform, or even like, reason I just want to break this down is because for us, and if you're a Steam player, if you're a PlayStation player, and you don't mess with Fortnite and these like big platform games like a Roblox or Fortnite, you may not understand just how big this is. But there are millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of players for whom this is the way that they play games. Okay, like they're not even really Steam gamers or PlayStation gamers.
Okay, I'll say this: this is really useful for artists, anybody that's trying to create a game. This is a new way to get yourself out there. But more as a gamer, not really.
They are Fortnite gamers.
I'll definitely try this to see how it works.
They are Roblox gamers. My little sister, bless her heart, is one of those like Roblox gamers. She's super into like a farm. There's like
games
that'd be like CDPR and those guys who are licensing it for what we would consider to be normal games.
Already have access to the full engine through C++. They have massive expectations of an API, and so we can't release this to them until we built up all the essential features that they'll need for building their gameplay in the future. And so, we have these two different tendrils of progress. There's Unreal Engine 5 for game developers, and there's Unreal Engine 5 targeting the Fortnite community. And there's different bits of development that are only in one area of it that aren't applied to both. Like, not all the Unreal Engine 5 features are actually available in Fortnite, because some of them we haven't figured out or haven't gotten to the point where we can deploy them to all 7 platforms in a platform-independent way.
To be clear, also, just being real, we see all of these studios talking about how they're moving to Unreal, CDPR moving to Unreal. There's even talk, I don't know if it's been confirmed yet actually, but the Warhorse Lord of the Rings game, I've heard people claim that will be an Unreal Engine 5 or Unreal Engine 6 game. All they've said we're using for KCD is great. Why are they all moving over? And a lot of it comes down to cost, but a lot of it also is other things that you might not.
First off, making a game engine on your own costs so much money. That's one of the things that people don't understand, why people are like going to Unreal or Unity. Like, these are already pretty good, like, no, insanely good game engine that these companies have made, so it's optimized to easily make games. So like, at that point, why would you make your own game engine? Like, it doesn't make any sense, especially like the risk that's needed to make it. Like, it needs a lot of money, and even then, like, it might not work. You need to bug fix a bunch of things. Like, there's too much risk and investment needed to make your own. So that's why, like, probably a lot of companies are just going to Unreal or you just straight up using Unity.
I think of easy scalability, being able to bring your game in an engine that is built to scale across every platform at all times, and that's basically on Epic to manage the scalability. That's valuable because if you can release your game on the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 6 and potentially high-end mobile devices too, and it just works, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's a lot of extra revenue. Even if each individual platform is just a little bit. It had 8 Village. They launched those on iPhone. You can buy them right now. Dude, they launched like AC Mirage and Resident Evil 8 Village. They launched those on iPhone. You can buy them right now in the App Store. Those are not light games. Those are pretty demanding games graphically and in terms of scale, and they run on a cell phone. Okay, so don't underestimate the power of scalability if you have some really amazing programmers. But the other piece I think that is often overlooked in these conversations is estimate the power of scalability if you have some.
Bro, even one of the games I just made. Shout out to him, the programmer Samuel. He made sure that like you can run your game, our game, Team Ruby on anything. Like change the resolution, change the whole scalability. Like, yeah, and play Moon of the Damned. It's a fighting game, the local fighting game. If you want to play it, but yeah.
Really amazing programs. But the other piece I think that is often overlooked in these conversations is talent. Like there is a cost that comes with hiring somebody and then having to train them for a year on how to use your tools. I mean, just think of it from the time you spent either in school or whenever you've sat down to try to do something. Maybe you know how to edit video.
Because like every tool has like their own like workflow, and so it definitely takes like a bit of time for you to adapt to it, like probably a month or two to like really get the basics, right? Like let's just say 2 months max. Like no, you know what? 1 month, 1.5 months to really get the basics. That's just getting the basics of the workflow, and now you kind of have to get used to the more little features to speed up your workflow. But if every game is made in Unreal, and at that point it's much simpler, and especially like Unreal is free to learn, so anybody can really learn and anybody could become really excellent expert, so you won't need to like teach a whole new workflow. So yeah,
with CapCut or something, but then somebody says, okay, well, I'm going to hire you, but you have to use the Adobe Suite. You need to learn how to use After Effects and Premiere Pro. You're like, okay, and you can learn it. You'll figure it out eventually, but that's going to be
because at the end of the day, like every skill is definitely like transversal. It's just so that it's additional time needed to like kind of learn a whole new workflow and learn like the whole workspace of that software.
A few months or even a half year where you're not operating anywhere near as efficiently as you could have, and that's just burn.
Exactly what I said. Like to learn the basics. Like let's just say you're an expert. You're not just advanced. You're an expert at the software you used to use. Like for example, I use DaVinci Resolve, right? And then now you have to learn Premiere Pro. These are two industry standard software. So let's just say your skills are going to be transferable to Premiere Pro, but the thing is, what took you like let's just say 2 days to make an edit is gonna probably take you like 1 week, and every day in those type of companies, game or really design art, like every day like cost a lot of money, like can cost you like 1,000, even sometimes depending on how big the company is, like millions. So like the goal is definitely to be able to do like something high quality in the shortest amount of time. So taking that additional time to make somebody new learn something, like it costs a lot.
Earning money and time and resources for the studio that hired you. And so for somebody to be able to go and hire somebody from CDPR and know that the moment they are hired, they can show up to the office, get their login credentials and get to work, that's valuable. There's no more like language barrier where it's like, wait, what tool are we using for this? I need to import. At my last job, we would take the animation from the recording stage and then we bring it over here and we use this program to fix it up than we'd in-page of being able to pass off all of the technical headaches back, or a lot of them, back to Epic Games. Because like I remember listening to a talk with one of the head honchos over at CDPR, and they were saying how the inherent, how did he phrase it? He said something like the inherent insanity or something, all that differently. They have different timelines, they have different needs and resource for engineering side with their proprietary engine and also with the game dev stuff, but it's extremely expensive. Same with Rockstar. They have their own even
and it's
like all of these studios moving over to Unreal. It's not a mistake, and it's because they provide very valuable service, even if the games tend to be choppy.
And so the place where all of these different threads of development come together is Unreal Engine 6. And it's a few years away. We don't have an exact time frame, but we could be seeing preview versions of it perhaps 2 to 3 years from now. And
so 2 to 3 years from now, this was April of 2025. When does the next generation start? It's expected 2028. And I would guess, and the guesses have been that they might start previewing hardware next year. Possibly they could also wait a year and start previewing in 2028. A lot of it just depends on like manufacturing timelines, budgets, all that stuff. But even if they do expedite and launch like in 2027, I don't think I think it's gonna be sold out freaking everywhere because it's gonna be so expensive to manufacture. I don't think they'll be doing 50 million unit runs at launch. I think they'll have very limited selection and inventory, and then it'll rev up as time goes by and it gets cheaper. So
version of the language that's used by a large number of people, but still in the constrained environment of the Unreal editor for Fortnite, so for the Fortnite game. And then there awaits the more general Unreal editor, Unreal Engine, for the lessons learned in the Fortnite context to be integrated in the more general context of creating simulated worlds for all kinds of games, including Fortnite. It's a really nice setup because you're both, it's a testing ground of the language in Fortnite, and you're keeping an eye on what the ultimate thing will look like, also necessary to deliver all the features that we mentioned. Brilliant.
And this is what's kind of funny about Unreal Engine is that like a lot of, I've heard people in comments, read people in comments say like, why doesn't another studio or company come in and try to do this? Why doesn't another company build their own Unreal Engine? It's like, first of all, you can't just do that. It's ridiculous. But the very, very unique.
Exactly what I said, bro. Like I literally just said that. Like, and especially like people don't know, but like before like the popularity of Unreal, like a lot of people would be making their own engine, right? But what would be happening is you need to update these engines to be up to date to the new meta, new workflow and everything, and that costs a lot of money that you might want to spend on making something new, like a new game and everything. Like it's money that most companies don't have. So when you have like Epic Games really like just focusing on just making a good engine, like you just can't beat that. That's the reality of things. Like this shit is expensive.
Thing about Unreal Engine is that they have a massive horde of guinea pigs in the form of Fortnite players that they can build stuff, test stuff, iterate on. And let's be honest, like Fortnite players, they tend to be a little bit more, they're younger, they tend to be more forgiving with stuff. Like if you launch a feature that isn't super well optimized in Fortnite, and then like Timmy, who's 12 years old, loses 5 frames per second on performance, like he's not going to be like, he's not going to be uninstalling, never playing again. Whereas if you were to do that with a lot of more traditional mainstream AAA games, you've got to be really on your game at all times. Yeah. So they have this testing ground and group of test subjects in the form of Fortnite that a lot of people would kill for. And with that comes a built-in revenue stream that funds the development of Unreal Engine further and further, which makes it very, very valuable. So I think it's just they're in a very unique situation, which is why they can do the things that they do. And no other company, I think, could really justify it other than like a behemoth like Microsoft. But do we really want Microsoft in charge of like a game engine? Probably not. I mean,
there's really like the only two like the few engines that really can just do this is Unity, Roblox, and maybe there's one Godot. Godot makes their own games, but like as y'all can see, like when you're making an engine, like this is the thing that you should be focusing on. Like if you're making a company like that's trying to create games, you can't be like also trying to make your own engine. This shit like takes every bit of your time, money, and everything to like make something good that everyone wants.
You can't get Windows running properly, and apparently now they're saying like 30% of all of their code is written by AI agents, which is it explains why Windows is running worse and worse, honestly.
The aim for UE6 is to bring the best of both worlds together, much easier than ship it anywhere. Like the ultimate version of this enables a game developer to build a game from their economy to third-party developers of all sort. Hopefully through a standards body, but there might be multiple phases of it, so that if you choose to ship a standalone game, you can still choose to have Fortnite items work in your game, and have your game items work in Fortnite, and have your item economy integrated with the overall metaverse economy, and solve the really
kind of blow past that last little bit. But again, like their goal, and I will give him credit, he uses the word choice. Okay, so he says that developers will have the choice to release as a Fortnite island or as a standalone game or both. And then you can choose to have like your Fortnite items cross-compatible. So you buy a skin in Fortnite, you could have that work in your game outside of Fortnite, or you could have your items that you sell within your game work also within Fortnite, and it just carries over. That's kind of like the ultimate vision. And the reason that's valuable, and again, it's something that might be foreign to you, it's foreign to me for sure, but there are people, especially among the younger generation of gamers, for whom this is like a deal breaker. When they buy a skin in Fortnite, they're willing to buy it for $20 or $30 for the skin. But it's because they know they will be able to bring that over to any one of the other experiences they enjoy. If they want to use that cosmetic in Fortnite, the Battle Royale game, they can do that. If they want to bring it over to Droid Tycoon, they can do that. If they want to bring it over to the farm game, they can do that. And that will constitute their willingness to spend money on those extra cosmetics, which is where most of the money in the industry is made. It's not made in standalone purchases. It's made in long-term recurrent revenue through microtransactions. So realistically, let's break this down realistically. Do I think we see The Witcher 4 as a Fortnite island? No, I do not. I think when the developers are choosing, they are choosing, in that case, not to do it as a Fortnite island. I don't think that works. I don't think it would work to have Ciri in a fish costume. I just don't think that works. And I don't think that they'll do cross-purchasing. I don't think they'll do that. So I think games where it really is not appropriate, they will not do that. But I do think that you'll start to see a lot of developers experimenting with it. I think what they were discussing here and targeting are those devs who are making those,
especially like indie
spin-off modes, like a Droid Tycoon, like a farm sim, like the only up clones and stuff like that. As I think right now a lot of these tools already exist for these devs and for these teams, but you don't tend to see like a lot of it. But I think a problem shop or a cosmetic shop that they add to the game post-launch, and it is something like, hey, for this game, create more videos, especially like CDPR. Do you think that they're delusional enough to think that Witcher 4 as a Fortnite island is not a major red flag for their core gaming community? Like, no.
I think I've seen enough. This was definitely interesting. I've seen the preview of 5.8, and it's actually really cool. But they definitely need some fixing in more like optimization and everything. But I'm definitely interested in the future of Unreal Engine 6 though. So that was it. Bye.